Go ahead.
Hello, Warriors. Dale Pinkert here at TradeGATEHub. Our sponsors, TradeView Markets. I want to start off talking about cable here. Of course, we have this demarcation line here at this 123.5 level, and under this level, it's got problems. Euro, in fact, did not retrace its prior low like the pound did. And we're getting a little reversal day, even though we're down 22 and cable's outperforming. Still think that there's a chance for another new high in euro and cable, and even the dog Aussie take the 68 level, and that this might be the final flush. The dollar has tried to stage two breakouts this week, turned back from the trend line here, breaking above it, but no follow through. Tells me that the dollar wants one more lows, and the reason is a real simple implicator. I put it out on videos. So when you have confirmed lows with price, which is exactly what you had in the dollar index, the opposite in euro, cable did diverge up at the high. That normally that's not the bottom. So I have a Friday number of 101.62. I'd rather wait for a Friday close to get long the dollar. And actually, I think that there might be one more short side trade left for an emotional climax under par, which should, the metals are already coming back a bit, and the S&Ps, we did have a classic three drive to a top formation. So the S&Ps have to hold this 4,100 level. It's the uptrend line from the spring low at 3,800. You're definitely back under this support line, 40.74. There's problems. So we'll see if the S&P can generate one more high. But 3 is enough. That may have been it. And looking at certain sectors within it, in fact, I bought some September puts in Apple. Looking at this, the monthly looks great. So here's your monthly. So we're on the verge of, people would call this a bull flag, on the verge of a breakout against all these tops. Probably the strongest market on the board I'm trying to top pick. But then when you look at things like the 4-hour chart, where we had a confirmed high up here, and we made new highs yesterday, and the divergence is glaring. And should we have a failure at the top of this range, which initially you need back under 156 to really tell you there's something wrong with the stock, I think it could happen. My fundamental reason is Tim Cook was in India, hat in hand, looking for a place to replace China, which is not going to be easy. And I still think that with what's happening in the Cold War between China and the U.S., that Xi to hurt Apple, if it isn't too much pain for his own country, would do that as an expression of power. So I think that's why Tim Cook is going around the world looking for new manufacturing facilities or locations to spread Apple's geo risk. Pretty hard to do that in a short period of time. So that's kind of the fundamental reason. Technically, if I go to some longer term charts, if I'm not just completely, wet on this one, you could see this breakout area right here, that you really have a descending triangle if you just draw a flat bottom, descending top, and breakdowns under 130 actually measured to 80. I have intermediate term targets down around 120 to take out the lows. And I know it sounds extreme, but we were there in January. Okay, so it wouldn't be, a shocker for Apple to trade 120. I think it would hurt the market quite a bit. And then you also have things like Microsoft, which I think is supposed to open lower today. And the semiconductors, even the strength. So here's semis. Okay, they still look like they're rolling over. There's nothing here that tells me that that's a weekly. On the 4-hour, we're right at support here. time's running out for it to stage a rally for a third drive. We start taking out the support. 235's next, and then you're talking 205. Should that give way? And also want to show Microsoft, which is the other heavyweight that I'm paying attention to that could be staging a false breakout here. There you go. You need it under 282. Back under this 282 blue line is my red line for Microsoft. That could open the door for 255 and then eventually 220. So I'm looking, if we do get this sell-off in the market, for a lot of these stocks to retrace back to January levels. We'll see how that unfolds. Just want to give you a quick update on the 10-year yield and why the yen is, making that move. They're very correlated. They've reconnected lately. So the 10-year yields rise as the yen rally rises. So here's your 10-year trying to break out over a fairly major level, this 360 level. As long as we're holding 350, the path of least resistance looks higher in yields. We could have a pullback. This has been a pretty big move. But 350 would be my line in the sand for a continued case for higher yields, which if my targets of over 140 handle in yen manifest, I think we'll see 390, 4% 10-year yields. Just a quick update on precious metals. They're fighting their way back, especially silver. But like I said before, I'm still negative. The gold, I don't know if we're going to break out to new highs. Thought that this would be a very important level, this 1930 level. But if we have one more decline in the dollar, and I'm talking about maybe, 200 points, 111.5 or so euro, let's see what gold could do under those circumstances. Silver approached a very key level right here. This 24.5, that was a prior high. That was a breakout. If you're long silver, you want to get out of the way under 24.5. I think it could be under 23 in a heartbeat. So those are my views for today. Enjoy the eclipse. Do you feel the energy? So, some exciting things could happen. I'd like to see the dollar flush one more time, put in a low during this time frame and see that be a wrecking ball. Or if it doesn't, and we do confirm a breakout by Friday on a close over 101, let's make it 70. Let me just give you the exact number. So again, here's how I look for 2-week reversals, a little teaching too. So you take this week, which is this candle, and you count back 1, 2, and you look at where that candle closed, which is a Friday, and you have 101.63. So we have flirted with the off number a couple of times, right? Up here at 101.63, and so far rejected. But if we get a close over 101.63, which was, what was this high? 79, 62. So the off number is coming into play. We get a close on the Dixie on Friday at that level. You have a 2-week reversal. I go with it. So that's what I see here, everyone. Join us in the room. We have some excellent traders. We have a cable trader, some great technicians that are sharing their work. Also consider TradeView for another account. Compare their spreads to your own broker, their platform, and the number of instruments. And oh yeah, I did forget something that I was talking about last week. I was talking about that I thought Bitcoin would be a false breakout over 30,000. Voila. There's Wile E. Coyote sitting on the cliff. I think we're going to have a breakdown. So Bitcoin may have topped on this eclipse, a secondary high. And I'm looking for a pretty good sell-off if it negates this. I think I'll be a buyer in Bitcoin under 20K. And those are my calls. The next one's yours. Give us a ring in TradeGATEHub.com, and don't just count your pips, count your